music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Have I put my big old foot in my mouth again? I have crossed the line I never should have crossed. Your reaction to my words has got me thinking, can I retract that thoughtless statement that I tossed? You know, I didn't really mean for it to sound that way. Sometimes my mouth just springs a leak. So I took a little look inside that mirror. Now I ask myself three things before I speak. Is it necessary, true, and kind? Is there something more authentic I can find to say? Is it from my heart or from my mind? Is it necessary, true, and kind? If I could hit rewind and take it back, I'd do it. Would you kindly put a muzzle on my beak? That old tape I've got's an 8-track, I'm so through with it. Will the silence be improved on when I speak? Is it necessary, true, and kind? Is there something more authentic I can find to say? Is it from my heart or from my mind? Is it necessary, true, and kind? When my monkey mind has found that open faucet and the chatter makes a steamy pool of stress, if there's any trace of toxic in my talking, I will grab a mop and clean up all my mess. And I will do my best to button up and hear you. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. I saw that written on the Jimi Hendrix bumper sticker. He was awfully smart for a musician. Is it necessary, true, and kind? Is there something more authentic I can find to say? Is it from my heart or from my mind? Is it necessary, true, and kind? Is it necessary, true, and kind? Is it necessary, true, and kind? Is it necessary, true, and kind?
All right. The show is Horses Say None of It, and our guest is David Roth. My name is Ralph Littman.
Hey Ralph, it's good to be here. Thank
Welcome
you.
to the show. That is a great song.
Thank you. I made it up. I didn't make up the principle. I've heard that idea of necessary, true, and kind attributed to Quakerism, Buddhism, and all that sort of thing, but I thought, that's something for me that bears repeating. if I could only remember to think that before I speak.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
You've got me questioning what I should say next.
No filters.
I love it.
Thanks.
You also lead workshops in addition to singing and performing.
Well, you know, I don't know if unconsciously I figured this out, but, you know, as a bona fide baby boomer and, you know, playing venues around the country where the audience is aging right along with me, and, you know, there's some trickle-down effect where sometimes fewer people are mustering the resources to go out. I've somehow tumbled into this workshop, songwriting camp, kind of retreat niche, if you would, where, you know, I go and teach at adult songwriting camps, and I'm running a couple events myself now. I have one called the Cape Cod Songwriters Retreat that's now in its 3rd year and is very, very much fun. And, you know, people like us get together, no horses yet, and, you know, we create an intentional writing community, you know, for a few days. It's a very level playing ground, you know, there's nobody up here and down there. It's not like an audience performer kind of relationship. It's more of how can we support each other, you know, to bring out the creativity that we all have, you know. So we kind of make the playing field level, and we encourage everybody to express, you know, the beauty that's in every single person.
What else would you like to play for us?
Oh, let's see. How much time have we got? Not much. Better get on this here. I thought I'd play a little guitar this morning, also known as ukulele.
There's been quite an upsurgence of interest in the ukulele lately.
Yeah.
Last few years.
It's a great, what I call, entry instrument, because you could use one finger and it's very easy on the fingers just to play a C chord like that. So for people who don't really play an instrument, this is a great one. I conduct a workshop at various places around the country called an orchestra, which is an ukulele orchestra. And, you know, we get people of all levels, mostly beginners, going, you know, we get right down to, okay, pick up the ukulele, put it on your thigh, or maybe a little higher, maybe you can tuck it in there, you know, put one finger there and go like this. And then we go, if we take a second chord, which is now 2 fingers, we go, and all of a sudden you've got, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy, like that, okay? So, song. Well, I am a musician of incredible success. I don't have a day job that's successful, I would guess. I ply my trade most night times when most other folks are free. I tour and I travel for a fee. When I pull into my driveway after many miles and treks, I hug and kiss my lovely wife, and then we have some dinner, and then it's time to make up for the time that I was gone. I've got a honey-do list that's very, very long. But laundry has been piling up while I've been gallivanting. Those lilies by the Buddha are in need of some transplanting. My wife has been here working while I've been out there wandering. Still some questions linger on that I have been pondering. Does Randy Newman wash a dish? Does Dylan take out trash? Was Fluffy's little litter box kept clean by Johnny Cash? Did Lennon lift a finger around the house from dusk till dawn? Does Joni Mitchell ever mow the lawn? What a sing-along line. I don't know how that would sound. Does Joni Mitchell ever mow the lawn? Now I would not compare myself to those iconic folks. Still I write my share of serious songs and tasteful jokes. Yet as I take the rotting food out to the compost heap, these thoughts into my subconscious do creep. Does Cat Stevens ever wash his car? Did Chapin trim a tree? Do Crosby, Stills, and Nash divide the household chores by 3? Does Clapton ever clean up clutter? Did Joplin clean a John? Does Joni Mitchell ever mow the lawn? Those kids from making furniture, did Springsteen ever build one? Or water buckets for the plants, did Elvis ever fill one? Not to mention mention schlepping, shopping, sorting out the bills? Does Gordon Lightfoot go and get his own prescription pills? So now you know my story. I do all that stuff and more, but I'll gladly pull my weight at home and sweetly sweep the floor. Yet every now and then as I unpack, I often find a curious thought meandering through an overactive mind. Does Paul McCartney walk to town? Does Paul McCartney walk the dog? Paul Simon drive to town? Were Pooch's little poopies ever scooped by Jackson Brown? Does JT lift the boxes in the basement with his brawn? Does Joni Mitchell ever mow the lawn? Does John Prine ever wash and peel a prawn? Does Carole King cut out a food coupon? Does Joni Mitchell ever mow the lawn? Thank you.
Good one.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's I'm back in my yard. I live on Cape Cod these days, and I was mowing the grass one day in my backyard. I'm going, wait a minute, I'm David Roth. Should I be doing this? Yes. The answer came very quickly, but it was fun to play with. It was fun to get that idea going. So, and it's fun to have an excuse to write on that little guitar, which, this is that guitar I played the first song is a Martin guitar. And the ukulele was responsible for helping Martin stay in business way back, I think it was the 1930s, don't quote me, because, the economy was so bad, but they found that by selling these smaller things that were more affordable, they'd actually helped keep the Martin Guitar Company solvent during the Depression. So it's got not only great history in Hawaii, but it's got great history for American music, folk music, So, kind of cool.
Ukulele was my first instrument. I started when I was 9.
Really?
Yes.
Do you remember what kind you had?
Harmony.
Oh yeah, I had a harmony guitar, also known as a cheese slicer or hard-boiled egg slicer, because the action was about like that, and you could just about get an egg down all the way through with one push, But you had to put a plate over the sound hole unless you wanted to go down in there. Yeah, so harmony. Great name for a musical instrument company.
What are you getting ready for there?
Well, I know that time is of the essence, so I want to play a song that's on my latest CD. I've got 13 CDs these days. I've got more musical CDs than certificates of deposit, so that's my investment in the future. So this song was inspired by a couple of friends of mine in Florida who become really good friends, a couple of gals with special needs. And they invited me to lunch about 3 years ago because they wanted me to write them a song. And after they told me their story, I had the song 2 hours later. Now, this was 3 years ago. I've only sung the song at every concert since then. And in perpetuity, as far as I could tell, because I love their story and I love having them as friends in my life, and I love singing about them. Mary Jo got a job down at the fast food joint. She was happy for the work. Mary Jo was put on fries. She's been making them for years. This is her specialty. Mary Special, Mary Special. When you're making fries, you see a lot of people. You get to be up front, right by the counter. You get to talk to customers, you get to look outside. Mary Jo delighted in her job. The new manager they got was someone younger. Didn't seem this person understood that Mary Jo was just a little different, but as good as any worker that this place had ever had. One day the boss told Mary Jo to make the Happy Meals, sent her to the back part of the store. This person also used the word retarded. The meals weren't so happy anymore. Mary Jo says, all I really want to be treated just like everybody else. Consider my abilities. I'm competent, I work hard, and I help. Carol is another special person. Compassionate and friendly, creative, fun, and kind. But she never liked a single day of school. Kids made fun of her. They made fun of her. When she grew up, she felt it was important to make a difference for people just like her. So Carol told their story to a singer, so he could sing their story to the world. Carol says, all I really want to be treated just like everybody else. Consider my abilities. I am competent, I work hard, and I help. Mary Jo and Carol are good friends. They do things together just like you and me. So if you ever see someone who's making fun of people like them, think who has the disability. So I want to show my shirt. You know, this is a shirt. It says "Label Jars, Not People." Just happened to wake up this morning. Well, that made me think of the song. And I've been carrying these around for the last 2 years. It's a fundraising T-shirt for a nonprofit in Florida that Mary Jo and Carol, both around 60 years old now, like me, they are on the board of directors of. And it's completely run by people with different abilities. And they advocate for funding and that sort of thing, and awareness, you know, about services that people like them can benefit by. So, Label Jars, Not People, that's where my T-shirt comes from. So, it's a 2XL too, so it's also pajamas and a house dress if I
Right on.
Yeah, amen.
Very moving song.
Thanks. Meeting these two gals has altered my life in a wonderful way. You know, so I mean, when I lived in New York City in the 1980s, one of the first jobs I got was for an agency called Hospital Audiences, and I went in and auditioned for them because I saw the ad in Billboard, and I had just arrived in New York. I didn't know what I was doing. I was getting any part-time job that I could to be able to live in Manhattan, and fell in with the fast folk crowd there early on. But one job I got was, I went and auditioned for Hospital Audiences. They wanted to find entertainers who could go to nursing homes, hospitals, psych wards, prisons, halfway homes, to do a little 45-minute show. And I auditioned with the old traditional folk song, the Wabash Cannonball, you know, from the great Atlantic Ocean to the wild Pacific shore, from sunny California to south on Labrador. But what I did between the verses was I yodeled. And they kind of went, they were sitting going, like, no one ever yodeled down in a folk song. Yodel-o. And they hired me, and I still have friends to this day from the 1980s from working with those beautiful people. And I went to just about every facility in all 5 boroughs, meeting special people of all kinds. So, unwittingly or not, I fell in to see people that some people might consider invisible or would prefer not to see. And have a great affinity for them. And Mary Jo and Carol, just in a long line of beautiful people that I might not have noticed if it weren't for things like that. So.
It's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Touching. What else would you like to do for us?
Yeah, I hope we have time to squeeze in 1 or 2 more. I think what I'll do is I'll go retro. I mentioned making 13 albums. I think I'll sing the title song from my first CD, which came out in 1992, or was it a cylinder or an 8-track? I'm trying to remember, going back that far. But about 5 years ago, I got a fan letter from a 9-year-old girl who said my songs gave her confidence, courage, C-O-R-I-G-E, and encouragement. So she wrote me that she had been encouraged by my songs, and that's my new mantra, you know, have courage. And she, in that letter, told me that this song, which I sang at her parents' wedding before she was born, was her mom's favorite song in the whole world of mine. Everyone looks for their calling in love, but I always find it surprising the way people say that they're falling in love, when I always felt I was rising, floating right off of the ground and reaching something I only have dreamed of. I'm not falling at all, I am rising in love. And everyone talks about tying the knot, but I have a hard time agreeing with the way that we bind up this love that we've got, when the feeling of love should be freeing, lifting each other up instead of giving one another a shove. We won't be falling at all, we'll be rising in love. How do you let love grow? You've got to give it a chance when you found it. A bird in your hand will stay until you start to close your fingers around it. Love is a river whose waters we test, and a measure of where we are going. But you never can step in the same river twice, for the water is constantly flowing. But the deeper the river, the greater the trust, and the more that we're rising above, we won't be falling at all, we'll be rising in love. I'm not falling at all, I'm rising. I'm not falling at all, I am rising. I'm not falling at all, I am rising in love. Rising in love. Rising in love. I am rising in love.
Excellent.
You're welcome. Thanks very much. I remember playing that song, and a fellow came up to me after a show, this was many years ago, and said, "Oh, I love that song, and I'm conducting a conference for 600 psychotherapists in Philadelphia, and I want you to come and do music through the 3-day conference, and I want you to start with that song." And I said, "Sounds great." Okay, so I went to this conference, and that was the first song I played, facing 600 psychotherapists, you know, on the first morning of the conference. And at the mid-morning bagel break, a woman walked up to me, you know, rather sternly and said, "Young man," I said, "Thank you," and she said, "That song you sang, Rising in Love, did you write that?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "Well," she said, "that's all very well and good, but the world really isn't like that." And inside I'm going, "Oh, really?" But outside I was smart enough to think necessary, true, and kind, so I didn't say anything. And she said, "I have a lot of clients with some very serious traumas, and I hope that the rest of your songs this weekend don't reflect such a mindlessly optimistic point of view." Mindlessly optimistic. And then she walked away, and I never saw her again. So she gave me, you know, something to munch on, and I never thought of it as mindless optimism. I thought and think of it as mindful optimism. So, you know, over the years since I've been doing this, I've been praised or dismissed, you know, for having this sense of optimism on music, but it's something I really like to celebrate in what I do. The world is very busy and complicated, but when I find ordinary people who do extraordinary things, or if I find an idea or hear in a conversation something that encourages me, lifts me up in some way, I will rise to it and make no apologies for it, and do it mindfully. So, Never saw that gal again, but when I came back from the bagel break, the next song I played was a song that I wrote dedicated to unsolicited advice. And I won't, there's no time for now, but it's called Don't Should on Me and I Won't Should on You. The most carefully pronounced song in folk music. And when I recorded that album back in 1992, I got Christine Lavin to be my duetess. We sang a duet on that song with the Big Dixieland Band, and the late great Howie Wyeth, who used to play drums for Bob Dylan and the Rolling Thunder Review, played not only drums but honky-tonk piano on the cut. So it was a beautiful kind of a collision of all these beautiful forces like Christine and Howie and Mark Dan and the East Village and the Jack Hardy Group and the songwriters, that I fell in with in 1980 when I stumbled into the Cornelia Street Cafe in Greenwich Village. And it all turned into this. Who knew? Horses probably knew, but I didn't know.
I saw the Rolling Thunder Review in Providence, Rhode Island.
Years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So the guy you saw, he had a little Irish cap on, Howie Wyeth. Incredible drummer. And then when I was doing this recording in Mark Dan's studio loft in the East Village, Howie was there playing drums. And then he said, "Do you want some piano on this?" And I didn't know if he played piano, but I looked over at Mark Dan, and Mark Dan went. And Mark had the funkiest, out-of-tune old upright you ever saw with a few keys missing and all that. And Howie sat down, and in one take, he played the rip-roaringest honky-tonk piano that was right in the pocket. And it just blew my mind. There's musicians and there's songwriters. I don't think the two are necessarily synonymous. I consider myself a songwriter who I try to make my music as good as possible. But when it comes to being a musician, there are musicians who are on upper levels of understanding and comprehension. That I can only enjoy as a fan and aspire to. And Howie, may he rest in peace, was one of them. Jack Hardy, songwriter. Same wish for Jack and all those beautiful people from the 1980s.
We just have time to say thank you for being our guest.
Yeah. I feel like I've been talking too much. Have I given you room to get in here?
Yes, by all means.
Okay. My wife would laugh because she knows that I'm an introvert. She's very outgoing, and we've been together a long time. And I don't know. I think one of the beauties for me in folk music is that it's helped me come out a little bit more instead of hiding behind my closed door in my room and just being perfectly happy. So music has been a beautiful bridge, to connect with other people. And some people say it builds community, and I'm one of those people. So far, so good.
Should we play it?
Let's do it. Slap on my behind, so far so good. Started off this life crying, so far so good. All the food I need to eat, baby steps on baby.